Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of our shooting show, and we certainly want to welcome everyone to today's program. Tell you what, friends, a lot of things are going on, and we are indeed very thankful to be here. And remember, we're here today due to a large part by your contributions to this project. We want to thank everyone who has contributed, and we have some new information. Friends, we have a real chance at getting to major markets all over this country. So this is something that is new. You know, we've been talking about this for a few weeks now, about the opportunities that we can have, because you know what? This project is not about Johnny. It's not about Leroy Scott. It's not about our folks here around this project. It's about all of us as shooters and getting the information about how to properly treat and use these firearms and handle them. That's what we have to do to get to as many Americans as possible. Friends, right now I've got a letter from Gun Owners of America, probably the most, let's just say they're the most non-compromising gun-owning group that I'm aware of. There are some other pretty good groups out there, but Gun Owners of America flatly does not want to compromise your gun rights. And you know what, friends? We shouldn't have to compromise our gun rights. We don't have to. And yet we're losing our rights day by day. And of course there's a new threat now. The United Nations has got some world civilian disarmament legislation they're looking at in the United Nations. Well, you know, Representative Ron Paul, who's one of the finest United States representatives, he's from over in Texas, and he is sponsoring a bill to get us out of the United Nations. And friends, this can be done. It can be done because literally, you know, according to our own U.S. Constitution, it's going to be difficult for the anti-gunners to take away these guns. They've been having trouble. That's why they're doing it a little bit at a time. But you know, there could be a United Nations treaty drawn up. Heck, could be drawn up today that Bill Clinton might actually sign to disarm every civilian in the United States. Now, friends, that could happen. This is not a joke. It could happen because, unfortunately, we've got some treaties and things that are very, very dangerous to our personal liberties. Now, wait a minute, friends. We can't allow that to happen. We cannot allow that to happen. You know, I don't want United Nations troops coming to my home to relieve me of my firearms. I don't want that to happen. You know, I'm going to resist that like most of you, yet this is a possibility. So if you want to shore up Representative Ron Paul's position on this, you can call your congressman, your U.S. representative, and ask them to co-sponsor it. Write this down. It's H.R. 1146. Again, House of Representatives Bill 1146, and that is being put forth by Representative Ron Paul. We need to get him on this program. We really do. Because, friends, let me tell you, if the gun grabbers are not stopped, and as you've seen on this program times, we've showed some of these folks, they're not reasonable people. They cannot be argued with. They can't be reasoned with because they won't listen to reason. So this is an opportunity for us. It literally, and right here in Larry's letter says, the bottom line, the United Nations could wipe out our Second Amendment rights with the stroke of a pen unless you and I take action now. You know about this treaty coming up, this so-called global climate treaty, which is not global. It exempts countries, some of the worst polluters like communist China, like Mexico, like India. But it's going to raise our gasoline prices, if it goes into effect, around 50 cents per gallon. It's going to raise your energy costs about, for your home heating, about 40–45%. It's going to raise your electricity bill about 20%. Hey, friends, for what? Because we as Americans, because we use more energy, guess what? We do more than any other country on the face of the earth. We do more stuff. And you know what? Most of it is good. And we're being punished for that. Because what they want is to bring all of us down to the world citizen level. See, here in the United States, we have too much of a standard of living according to the rest of the world standard. Well, I don't agree with that. Let them come up to our standard, don't bring us down to theirs. And friends, that's what this is all about. It's a fight for our liberty. It's a fight for freedom. And of course, here we are today concerned with these firearms. Remember, Bill 1146, please call, write, or fax your congressman and ask them to please support this, because this United Nations thing, friends, it's your New World Order government. That's what it's about. We don't want it. And we're going to resist it until we can do something about it. So that's what we want to do. We can do something about it. We have to do it. Friends, if you would like to help keep this program on the air, if you've got $5 or $50 or $500, whatever you may have, if you can, please send it to The Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code is 71024. Also, our phone number, area 318-377-5189. Well, you know, I'm holding a Model 94 Winchester. The reason it's called Model 94 is because it's been around since 1894. And this is in 30-30 chambering. And, you know, these guns are very, very common all over the United States. And one of the neat things about them, they're certainly a reasonably powerful round. The 30-30 is no joke. And it is very handy. Jeff Cooper says that these carbines are the finest police gun that he can imagine, because you've got a good cartridge, it's easy to shoot rapidly, the mechanism is simple, and they're very reliable and dependable. Of course, in the anti-gun people's minds, this would be a sniper carbine, you know, a sniper carbine for the anti-gun people. See, they can't be reasoned with. They absolutely cannot. That's why we have to defeat them. Well, some people would say, well, the 30-30 is not very accurate, not a very good hunting cartridge, but it is. That's flatly not true. But it has to be used in its proper range, in the proper context. Well, we have some 150 grain ammunition. We got some water bottles out here today, and let's start our shooting show with our classic Winchester Model 94 and 30-30. You know, friends, someone might say, well, that's only 100 yards, John. That's not too hard. Well, that's true, but a lot of people don't realize the capability that these guns really do have. Let's move out to 200 yards and see what that looks like. Yep, oh, reliable. Now, friends, we're going to look at something today that, since we have a lot of people that don't know much about shooting who are starting to watch our program, and some of you might wonder why there are adjustable sights on guns, or why the scope would need to be adjusted, or certainly on this Super Blackhawk here in 44 Magnum, we have an adjustable sight here. Well, let me run a little experiment here to show just why we need adjustable sights. Now, friends, we have a Ruger Super Blackhawk here in 44 Magnum, and we have two cartridges. We have one, a jacketed hollow point, which is a full charge load. This particular load out of this gun is running about 1,400 feet per second, a 240 grain jacketed hollow point. All right, here we have a target load that I made up. It's the same bullet weight. It's 240 grains, same size bullet as the other, but it's moving at about 875 feet per second. So let's see what difference. Let's look on our target as we shoot the guns, and we'll shoot the first one will be the hot load, the 240 grain jacketed hollow point, running 1,400 feet per second, and then we'll shoot our target load, which is the same size or same weight bullet, and see where it hits on the target. So let's do that right now. Take a look at our target. Now, friends, in looking at the target, it looks like I also need to adjust it to hit a little bit further to the right. But now let's take the target load, which is moving much slower, about 875 feet per second, do the same drill. Let's see where it hits on the target. Now friends, as you saw the impact from the second bullet, you noticed that it hit several inches higher than the first one. Well, let's take a look at why. Now friends, I want you to look at something here. Let's shoot another one of the high velocity loads, and we'll shoot one of the target loads right behind it. And I think this will give you, this may confuse the issue a little further, but we will explain it. All right, watch the recoil of the Super Blackhawk in my hands today with the super hot 1400 feet per second load, 44 Magnum, 240 grain bullet. Take a look at it in my hands. Now see, we had quite a bit of recoil, although thankfully due to the single action grip design it wasn't punishing, but you notice quite a bit of recoil. All right, let's watch the target load. Whoa, where'd the recoil go? Notice we had just a little bit of upchuck, not a lot, just a little. All right, now then, why, if we had a fantastic amount of recoil on the first load as compared to the second, why did the first one hit down here and the much less recoiling load or slower load, why did it hit up here? All right, let me show you. Now friends, there's a reason these sights are up as high on top of the barrel as they are, but here's what happens. All guns recoil, certainly more demonstrative in these heavy caliber handguns. Let me show you what. For the hotter load, even though the recoil was much more violent, that bullet was moving so much faster that when it came out, it hit here because the bullet exited somewhere in the recoil arc, but it got out of the barrel much quicker. Even though there was much more recoil, the bullet was gone before the barrel had a chance to upchuck. All right, this was our hot load. Up to our slower load, what happened, since it's not moving it as fast, the gun is still going to recoil regardless of which load is going to be in it. It's still going to recoil, but since this bullet was moving about 500 or 600 feet per second slower, the barrel had more time to rise, so the bullet came out at a higher point in the arc. So that's in fact why. Down here the bullet was gone in the hot load before the gun could arc upwards. Up here with a slower moving bullet, the gun still recoiling, it was further in its arc when the bullet came out. So that's why, certainly for a Magnum gun or a gun with a wide variation in speeds of loads, adjustable sights are really necessary. Now a lot of the cowboy action shooters now are shooting with the fixed sight guns, and that's when you have to go out and shoot your gun to use some Kentucky windage so you'll know about where to hold for a particular load for you to hit your target. So the cowboy action guns are a lot of fun, but most of those folks shoot with one particular weight bullet, and the sights will sort of be adjusted there from the factory. But if you're really going to be shoot for serious accuracy for hunting, whatever else like that, and use a wide variety, the adjustable sights have it all over the fixed sight, simply because you can actually hit your target. Well, we're going to go ahead and from an experiment yesterday doing this same thing, we found that if I lowered the sight to bring it down, to bring the impact point down, you will lower the rear sight. If you want to raise the point of impact, you will raise the rear sight. So we're going to bring it down 16 clicks on this Ruger. And that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of difference at 25 yards, which is where we were shooting from. So let's go ahead and lower it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And since I'm hitting obviously a little bit to the left of the bullseye, we're going to move the sight. We want the bullet to go this way. We're going to move the rear sight this way. So let's try that. Probably move it about 2 clicks to the left. to the right there to make our bullet hit toward the right. So let's see what it looks like. go ahead and tape our target as we speak. You know, friends, this tape is a valuable part of if you're really serious about knowing where your bullets are going to go, because you say, well, I remember where that last one was. I remember where the other. Simple thing, friends. This is masking tape available at your local discount center. And so on each shot.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today.
You know, friends, this tape is a valuable part of if you're really serious about knowing where your bullets are going to go, because you say, well, I remember where that last one was. I remember where the other. Simple thing, friends. This is masking tape available at your local discount center. And so on each shot string, a simple thing, but you'd be surprised how many people don't observe the simplest things. Just tape your target so you can see where your newest holes are. You know, simple thing. You know, other simple things. We never shoot without hearing protection. We never shoot without eye protection, because you know what, friends, especially for new shooters who may be going out to the range for the first time, you darn sure don't want to hurt your hearing. You don't want to powder or any sort of mechanical malfunction. You don't want to get anything in your eyes. If you're shooting steel targets, you may have a fragment of a bullet come back and hit you. Well, heck, if it hits you somewhere here in the leg or on the arm, it's probably not going to hurt you. But you know what? If it hits you in the eye, you may have some serious damage. There is no excuse for going to the range and not using eye protection and hearing protection. And you know, I hear from people all over, and quite a number of women call about different issues to this program. And a lot of women got started off on the wrong foot, because you know what? On shooting. Because they had a boyfriend or a husband or a brother or somebody or a friend took them to the range and said, here, Daisy Mae, go ahead and shoot this 44 Magnum. It's not going to hurt you. And of course, when it goes off, it hurts her hand, it hurts her hearing. My goodness, she's her head's in shock. And you know what you've done? Maybe those folks that carried Daisy Mae out there, maybe they thought that was funny. But you know what, friends? We don't need that kind of humor it's not funny, because you know what you've done. If you take a woman to the range who's never shot a gun and it scares her half to death and hurts her hearing, you know what? She's never going to go back. And when an issue comes up that we may need her vote as a gun owner or sympathetic to gun owners, you know what she said? If she's been hurt by going to the range, her ears hurt, bad experience, well, she's a lot less likely to vote on our behalf. So please, please observe proper precautions when you go out shooting. Now then, friends, we've adjusted our sights down 16 clicks on the Super Blackhawk. Let's see how it works. Remember, put your front sight in the center of the rear notch here. Have an equal amount of light on both sides. Let's see how it does. We've adjusted for our target load. All right, that's 6. Let's go up and take a look at our group. And in fact, I may have adjusted a little too much. But friends, that's essentially 6 there in one sort of connecting hole, and which looks like a pretty good target load. Realize that in the top piece of tape was where it was shooting earlier. So with proper adjustment, in fact, I probably could ease up on it about a couple of clicks there and put it in the center of our bullseye. But you see the difference that sight adjustment made for that particular bullet. You know what, friends, now with cowboy action shooting becoming so popular, and we are completely in support of that great sport, but you know what? A lot of people are rediscovering the single action revolver. Certainly some guns are easier to shoot more rapidly, but of course the calibers that the single actions come in tend to be much more potent than a lot of the semi-automatics out there. And the good news is that in the more potent calibers, they just don't have the amount of recoil, say, even a double action revolver has. But I was talking to my good friend Curtis Shipley the other day. We were talking about that, and I was just saying that for a lot of people, in fact, I will mention to you, my wife shoots a single action, the little Blackhawk, with full charge loads with Buford Pusler commemoratives, and it doesn't bother her at all. And she's certainly not a large person, but she is able to handle it. And I said, well, you know, if somebody comes up around the house here and I happen to be gone, that's going to be the gun she's going to grab because she shoots it so well. Well, Curtis mentioned to me, he said, well, what if, let's say that there was an intruder coming in the home and whoever was there went ahead and cocked that single action revolver. Well, guess what, friends? You know, if one of these things is cocked, it's got a halfway decent trigger on it, doesn't take much to set it off. Well, suppose that our intruder comes in the house here and says, he sees someone with a gun, and he says, whoa, wait a minute, whoa, I'm in the wrong place. You know, this was a mistake. I thought I was going to rob your home, but obviously I see you're home and you got a gun pointed at me, so I don't want to rob you at all. I'll wait for the police. Have a knife or a weapon, they put it down. Well, here you've got someone that's real nervous with a cocked single action and not much pressure on that trigger will fire that gun. So rather than have, if you don't have to shoot an intruder and they've surrendered, here's how to uncock these things safely. Because this is something we really do need to think about, because, like I said, it doesn't take much pressure on that single action trigger for that thing to go off. Let's take a look at it through the camera. Now then, friends, let's say we've got a cocked single action. Remember, that trigger, if it's cocked, it doesn't take much to set it off. Well, and we want to decock it safely. And you know, if we do this number here, if we press the trigger and ease down with our thumb, what would happen if our thumb slipped and the trigger was held back? Well, it would go off. So here's what we can do. We can place our offhand thumb, if you're right-handed, place a little pressure on the hammer just like this. Go ahead and pull the trigger and let it start to ease forward. Take your finger off the trigger and ease the hammer down. See, on these Rugers, the transfer bar will be out of the way, but you can ease it down and let it down safely. And only realize that if you feel like you need to shoot the gun, it only takes just a moment to cock it and hit our target. Friends, here it is, the great Georgia Arms ammunition. Notice these ballistic tip nozzler bullets in this Georgia Arms ammunition. You see, this is equivalent to a box of 20 for only $7.95. Now, friends, that is a terrific price for essentially custom-loaded ammunition. Of course, for the plain full metal jacket, it is much less expensive. Here's another tremendous bag of Georgia Arms ammunition, 7mm Remington Magnum, 20 rounds, only $17.95, loaded with these premium Nosler ballistic tips. I tell you, this is custom ammunition at a discount price. Tell you what, friends, the good people at Georgia Arms do understand what's going on in this country. They understand how important our gun rights are, and they're supporting us on this project. The good news is you can get absolutely superior ammunition at discount prices, whether you have a handgun or a rifle. If you want to take that big hunt, you can afford to practice with your rifle as well as use that same ammunition on the hunt because they are so reasonably priced. These are some of the nicest people we have ever met in this business, bar none, and they're down in beautiful Villa Rica, Georgia. So please, friends, if you would, you can get a free catalog with a free phone call. That's as good as the deal gets. A free catalog, free phone call, 1-800-624-6861. Again, Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861. And please tell them you saw it here on our shooting show. Now, friends, here it is. This is the great 1919 Browning converted to semi-automatic from the good people at NWI. This is your chance to own a real piece of history. They're very collectible. They're also a lot of fun to own and shoot, and very reasonably priced, certainly for what you get. The 1919 Browning is from NWI. That phone number, area 503-429-5001. They also have the ammunition special still going on. 30-06 ammunition, only 18 cents a round, surplus in the belt. So give them a call today, NWI, for the great 1919 Browning conversion. Also remember, they have the A6 conversion with the shoulder stock and the bipod. But these are tremendous pieces of history, also great shooters. So give them a call today, the 1919 Browning from NWI, area 503-429-5001. And hold the phone, stop the presses, friends. They now are making the 50 Browning available, and just picture the gun you're looking at here, just about twice as big with that gigantic 50 Browning cartridge. Trust me on this one, friends, these guns will not be available forever. If Clintonians have their way, they'd sure like to take them away right now. But you still can get them, and realize for every gun that NWI sells on our program, they will donate an extra $300 toward keeping us on the air. So if you're interested in the 1919 Brownings, the A4 or A6, or the new 50 Browning semi-automatic conversion, give them a call, area 503-429-5001. The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, a lot is said about different types of guns for all sorts of different purposes, but, you know, really it amounts to what you have and what you're comfortable using. For example, your first shot is going to probably be, if you have to defend yourself or your home, if you're a police officer, your first shot is going to be the most important one, whether you have a semi-automatic or one of the revolvers. Your first shot is very important. And really, whether you have a semi-automatic or a revolver, if you're used to your gun, if you're comfortable with it, there's not much difference in the actual time on the first shot. We've got a target here just a couple of yards, and let's run a little quick experiment on different types of guns here for that all-important first shot. This is the 1911 cocked and locked safety on. We'll start from the low ready position and see just how long, and of course the timer will start me. I'll start on the buzzer, I'll have the gun here, safety off, move up and hit our target. So let's see how long that takes. We'll be in the low ready position. Okay, 6/10 of a second. Low ready position, safety on, finger off the trigger, or just beside the trigger. 6/10 of a second. And we had a hit right here in our circle. Anywhere here to here will be okay. 6/10 of a second for the 1911. So again, we're trying to hit our target. We're not just out here blasting away. All right, let's try it with the double action revolver. Finger sort of beside the trigger. All right, 54 hundredths of a second, 6 hundredths for the double action revolver. Another good hit here. Okay, now we've got our Super Blackhawk single action, which a lot of people think, well, it's just not as quick. Remember, that first shot's the most important one. 54 hundredths. We got our hit. See what our single action does. Well, guess what? Target in our circle here, 51 hundredths of a second. Now, isn't that amazing? So see, the old single action, like I said, I think that people are rediscovering these guns. I was reading something the other day by Chuck Taylor, who's a well-known firearms writer, and I sort of know Chuck. I've had a little bit of time to talk with him at different shows and things, and Chuck impresses me as someone who really does know what shooting is about. He and I don't agree on everything, but hey, we don't have to. On most important defensive issues, he and I are certainly in agreement. So whether you have any kind of revolver or semi-automatic, I think way too much emphasis is being put on firepower, as in numbers of shots available. Well, friends, honestly, if you've got 5 or 6 shots in your gun on a personal defense type arrangement where you have to defend yourself, I would think that those 5 or 6 shots should be enough to do about whatever. I read what Chuck said in his book that he had examined about 4,000 case studies over many years of compilation, and it said that in an encounter, only in about a dozen cases was a reload attempted in actual shootings, and said that, according to Chuck now, in none of those was the reload essential to how the confrontation came out. So, you know, we better think about hitting with whatever we have and getting used to our gun. You go out to the range, you have a single action revolver, somebody makes fun of you, just don't even say, hey, I'm just out shooting my gun, trying to get as proficient as I can with it. Because if in fact whatever you have that goes bang, some stuff is better than others, that's true, but I think we're going to be looking at the single action, certainly now with all the cowboy shooters, at the single action of what its defensive capabilities are. 5100s. Not too shabby. For me, Mr. Average Shooter, anyway. Friends, here it is. This is the great fluid film, and I say that great because I tell you what, remember when a couple of weeks ago when I literally dunked my 1911, and it's blued steel, it's not stainless, in water, and took it out of the water, shot it, left it overnight with all the water inside the gun. I had treated it with fluid film, and guess what? The next day it had zero rust on it, had no rust at all. This is tremendous stuff. Also, on last week's program, we took our black powder gun, we shot it, we treated it really well with fluid film, left it overnight. There was no corrosion whatsoever. The board did not rust. Everywhere we'd put fluid film, there was no rust on it at all. So this is terrific stuff. We're making a package deal here for the shooting show. 2 of the large cans, this is a smaller can, 2 of the large 11 3/4 ounce cans of fluid film, the best lubricant that I have ever seen for guns or for your doors on your vehicle, or to put on anything you use a penetrating oil, but you want it to stay. This stuff is used on the space shuttle, on the vertical stabilizer, the hinges there, because it will hold up in hot or cold temperatures. It's used offshore on boats to protect from salt spray. It is terrific stuff, friends. You can get it from us here at the shooting show. It's in $19.95. That gets everything, shipping, handling, everything. We'll send you 2 cans, the larger cans of fluid film. Mail it here to the shooting show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Beverly, Louisiana. That zip code is 71024. Again, $19.95 for 2 of the 11 3/4 ounce cans. Friends, this is terrific stuff. Trust me, if you ever use fluid film, one, you'll be amazed at what it can do, and you'll never use anything else. So it is, in fact, that good. So again, $19.95 for us here on the program. Now, friends, some time ago on the shooting show, we ran a portion of the Machine Gun Magic tape from Mike Dillion out at Dillion Precision there in Arizona. You know, Dillion Precision makes some of the finest reloading equipment that is available today anywhere, and Mike has been nice enough to allow us to run another portion of this great tape. So here's a clip of Machine Gun Magic. We'll tell you how you can order this tape and get a free catalog at the end of this piece.
When I was 6 years old and living in Florida, my Aunt Dot went to England as a nurse during World War II. Before she left, she promised to bring me back a machine gun, and I was bitterly disappointed when she came home without it. She swears to this day that she had the gun, but they took it away from her when she went to get on board the ship. I might be a little older now, but not much has changed. I still enjoy machine guns, and I know that thousands of others out there do too. What you're about to see is the fun, the history, and some straight talk about one of the most misunderstood pieces of engineering in America. We'll be showing and shooting the widest array of machine guns ever assembled, from the oldest to the very latest. We'll talk about some of the developments in engineering, the mistakes, twists, and turns the gun has taken. If you've never shot a machine gun, or even if you have, we think you're about to embark on a fascinating journey that will include a grand finale worth waiting for. You probably first heard about the machine gun through comic books or the movies. It replaced the 6-shooter as the entertainment gun of choice as we shifted from the days of the Old West to World War II. If anything, the machine gun has gained in popularity during the last few years, with the help of people like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Richard J. Gatling was an inventor of industrial and farm and agricultural machinery prior to the days of the Civil War. He had as his personal friends Abraham Lincoln, for one, and a man by the name of Harrison, who was later to become a president of the United States, as well as Lincoln. He was a great inventor and liked to put pieces of machinery together and try to come up with a gun, and the Civil War offered an opportunity for Dr. Gatling to produce a weapon that he felt he could sell to the government to increase the ability of firepower. The military was not prone to adopt the Gatling gun at all, and so it had very limited use in the Civil War. There were 12 purchased by the United States Ordnance for $1,000 apiece, and it wasn't until after the Civil War and the problems out west with the western expansion and the need for additional firepower with Indians that the Gatling gun was indeed perfected. Even so, these guns, about 300 pounds each, still had a lot of problems in the field. They're not very mobile. They were normally operated in a bank of 6 to a battery. 6 guns firing in an oscillating mood like this would put out a horrendous field of fire. And no human being or animal were able to get through this fire, and this is where it became a very effective weapon. One of the problems with any weapon that has a repeated fire system is the cooling of the barrel. Gatling's system involves a center core right down the middle of this gun. You can't see it very well on the camera, but there is a pad of material, and you had to continually put water on this pad if the gun was going to remain in full operation. Many an unfamiliar Army Ordnance sergeant would receive this gun from the Ordnance Department, and they would proceed to rip this material out of there thinking it was part of the packing material, when in fact it was the only built-in cooling system that the gun had. Dr. Gatling's gun was equipped with a broken bolt extractor, which was the primary part of the gun that would malfunction or break during sustained firing. First of all, you had to figure out which barrel number, 1 through 10, was the problem, and you'd line the gun up using the crank, and then proceed to use this bolt extractor to extract the bolt, and you could pull it right out of the gun and insert the new bolt, put the extractor back in, and the gun was back up to battery again for firing. Following the Civil War, the United States Army was stepped down quite a bit, and the only useful purpose of the Army was for the western expansion of this country and the protection of the settlers, and so they were put into full use against the Indians. One of the problems that faced General Custer as he moved west to battle the Indians was the fact that he needed to move quickly, and he felt that the Gatling guns would slow his movement down so much that he felt that he wasn't going to take them, so he left them home in the garrison. Had he have been able to take the Gatling guns with him and perhaps moved at a slower pace, things at the Battle of Little Bighorn might have been quite a bit different.
If necessity is the mother of invention, then war is the mother of machine gun development.
This is a Vickers machine gun, a medium machine gun. It's water-cooled. This particular specimen is chambered for the .303 British cartridge, although this gun has been chambered for many cartridges through its long lifespan, including most recently in 7.62 NATO, when it was employed by the South African Defense Force. In fact, this gun is painted in the colors used in South Africa. However, more significantly, it's a classic example of the type of machine gun that was employed and that dominated the trench warfare of World War I, since that's from whence it dates. This is the model 1912. It is water-cooled, belt-fed from the right side, and recoil-operated. Here we see a fold-down anti-aircraft sight, and here is a dial sight. The significance of the dial sight is that it was used basically for indirect fire, that is to say, firing from defilade, and it dates back to the days when machine gunnery was a science, closely associated with and actually coming out of artillery. To load the weapon, you take the tab on the cloth cotton belt, insert it into the feed block, pull it firmly over as far as it will go, take the cocking handle and pull the cocking handle while at the same time pulling on the belt, thusly. That has pulled a cartridge from the belt and placed it in the position for feeding into the chamber, so that we must cock it one more time to actually drive a round into the chamber. The gun is now loaded and ready to fire.
Now we come to what you first probably saw when you heard the word machine gun. It's said that the Thompson is the gun that first made the 20s roar.
Probably the most famous machine gun that was ever built. It was designed shortly before the end of the First World War. They called it a trench broom because the idea was that you could sweep the trenches clean of enemy opposition. It became more famous during the Depression years of Prohibition in the hands of famous gangsters, people like John Dillion and Pretty Boy Floyd and Babyface Nelson. And you've heard about the Valentine's Day Massacre, not to mention Dick Tracy, who all were famous in real life or in fiction using this firearm.
Longer burst. Longer.
I love it.
She likes it. Oh, yeah.
This is neat.
It's heavy. It's not much good for anything like hunting, but it's very popular with collectors. It's expensive to shoot, expensive to own, and although it was famous for being part of crimes, today it's one of the safest, most legally owned guns that the owners are very careful about registration of, and in fact crimes with legally registered machine guns have been almost non-existent since 1934. But they're beautiful weapons. It's easy to appreciate the artistry that goes into building something like this. This particular model is a 1921 Thompson that was reissued in 1928 for the U.S. Navy, and it's called a 1928 Navy Overstamp. It fires either from a clip magazine, like this, which carries 20 rounds, or a drum like this, which carries 50 rounds. And there are other options as well.
I love it.
The classic Browning automatic rifle, or BAR, been popular in two wars. It was also famous as the weapon that was used by the real Bonnie and Clyde bank robbers back in the 30s. But as you can see, it's a heavy, difficult weapon to handle, and so most of the time in the movies they don't use the real BAR, they use some other lighter weight machine gun, because as we'll see here when we hand it to Kim, this thing is pretty hard to manage. All right, Kim, here's a real gun for you to try.
You've got to be kidding.
It has a rather slow rate of fire, but it's been very popular among American Army forces in ground wars starting back in World War I and World War II. Very dependable, very accurate.
Now, friends, this is a terrific tape. We've only seen a few minutes of certainly the entire tape. It is the best machine gun information I can possibly imagine. Give the good people at Dillion Precision a call, 1-800-421-7632, and get a catalog on their entire product line, and certainly look through their tape selection. This one is absolutely terrific, and we appreciate the good folks out there and Mike Dillion for letting us use this on our shooting show.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, we're very fortunate here in Northwest Louisiana to be near one of the great custom gun shops in the entire United States. Of course, we're talking about Clark Custom Guns, where you can get all sorts of work done on your fine semi-automatics or revolvers. And don't forget their 22 rifles based on the Ruger 1022. All these things are available in their catalog. You can take a look at them, get a price. You can call Clark Custom Guns, area 318-949-9884. Again, area 318-949-9884, and get their entire list of products. Give them a call today, and please tell them you heard it here on our program. Friends, we hope you're enjoying our program today. We are very pleased to be bringing it to you. We surely are, because it has been such a struggle for us to stay on the air at all. And as I mentioned at the beginning of today's program, we have a real opportunity, the best opportunity we have ever had, to get this program, this project, in front of millions and millions of households. We've been in negotiation now for a while with some people that really want to do some good for us, that we can help them, and this is a wonderful opportunity. As I have often said, the only chance we have to retain our gun rights, because we're losing them daily, we're losing this battle as we speak, is to get in front of more Americans and just simply tell them the truth. That's the thing, just tell them the truth about what this is really about. And you know what? When reasonable people hear our side of the argument, they say, you know, that's right, that's true. I do want to remind you, on next week's program, I hope to have the judge back on. He would have been here today, but his office has, in a recent rainstorm, got some flooding, actually, and they're over putting in new carpet, so he couldn't get down to the studio today. So we hope he'll be with us again next week. I want to welcome a new member to our shooting show support group. We have a friend of ours there in South Carolina named Dennis Crocker, and Dennis teaches firearms training. He is NRA certified, he's SLED approved, he is an instructor. He offers courses in safety, basic pistol protection, and concealed carry. If you would like to give Dennis a call, he is authorized to go throughout South Carolina. You can give him a call at area 864-587-8722. Again, area 864-587-8722. We also want to mention our good friends at Custom Leatherwork and Saddlery. They're in Denham Springs, Louisiana. They can repair all sorts of tack and saddles, unusual shoe repairs. They even make harnesses for guide dogs. They can certainly fix your holster too if you need it done. Their number is area 504-667-9225. Again, area 504-667-9225. And we do want to put a plug in for Gun Owners of America for writing to us about this House of Representatives. It's Bill 1146, And Ron Paul wants to get us out of the United Nations. Ron Paul is this great U.S. representative from Texas. Let me tell you what, friends, this is the best news I've heard. They're starting a bill up there. He needs co-sponsors. If you would, please call, write, or fax your congressman and ask them to please support H.R. 1146. It will get us out of the United Nations, and this, friends, needs to be done, because I don't want the UN police telling you or I what to do. I don't want them coming to our homes and telling us that they're there to pick up our guns, and this theoretically could happen. It absolutely could. So Gun Owners of America, let's give their phone numbers. Area 703-321-8585, 703-321-8585. And friends, as we have said, we're here today in part because of your contributions to this program, this project, because it's not about me, it's not about the judge. This is about our rights as free Americans to own and enjoy firearms. And we're losing this right as we speak. If you can help us stay on the air, we have a real opportunity. It's the best opportunity. We'll be up there with some of the major networks on the numbers of households we can reach with our message. If you want to help us get there, please, please send whatever you can. $5, $50, $500, whatever you can, please, to help us stay on the air. Send it to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code is 71024. Friends, I cannot overstate the importance of this, because you know what? If we can do this, if we can get on where we're covering 50, 60 million households, we have a real opportunity of helping to turn this thing around. We have to get there. We can't do it by ourselves. We've got to have your help. So please, if you can, do whatever you can, because it is a fight that if we don't get through to more people on TV, if we don't, we will lose this battle. I'm not a good loser. I don't think you are either. We're not good losers, because we're talking about the things that made our country great. That was opportunity for the individual. It was freedom for the individual. We don't want to be a slave state. We don't want to answer to any other group of people on the face of the earth but other Americans. That's all. Friends, we can do it. Please, we need your help. Again, the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road, Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code 71024. Our phone number, 318-377-5189. Please remember our radio show on the American Freedom Network, GE1, Channel 7, 5.8 audio from noon to 2 o'clock on Sundays. And remember our gospel show on Sunday morning on G4, Channel 14, 10 to 10:30 Eastern Time. Friends, here's our address and phone number again. We need to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. Together, we can make this thing work out. We really appreciate your support. We'll see you on the next program.